We're not scared of anyone who has invited us to the war. We are here today to accept the war and to accept that we are enemy number one of the white monopoly capital. And we will not be defeated. So the DA should know that the invitation to war has been accepted. We have never declared war against anyone. We were doing politics and saw everybody as a political opponent rather than an enemy. But since we're an enemy now, let's go to the battlefield. 2024 will separate boys from men, girls from women, because the DA thinks that it can defeat the EFF. The white capital has invited you, the ground forces of the EFF, to war. It's up to you to decide if you want to be defeated or not. Someone said, we are the kingmakers. We are not the kingmakers. We are the king. It must be exposed for what it is. It's a kiss between DA, Steenhuisen, and Herman Mashaba. They are kissing each other. The same way Helen Zille kissed Mampela Rampela. And then Mampela Rampela died from that poisonous kiss. With poisoned thin lips. The MMC of Finance in Ikuruleni is engaged in a program where they switch off illegal connection by big business and industries in Ikuruleni. And then to enhance revenue for that municipality, close for those businesses that are not paying their electricity bills. Where are you to cover that? But if it was a white mayor, that one of Tshwane, what is his name? Brink. If it was Brink Iqiming, you're going to be following him because he's a white man. Pala Pala report, really, just one sentence. I don't know why they say Koleka is she when they say public protector's office, they also mention Koleka Galega. But when you talk about the Reserve Bank, you don't mention Lesija Khanya. Everybody is consistent in saying Reserve Bank, but Lesija is not being mentioned. It's Lesija who's created this mess, who has converted Reserve Bank into a protection of one man. Is Galega because it's a woman? Her name can be called with loose like that. You can call an institution and even call her name. There's no problem there. But this side, it's a male. And because there is a male who's leading the Reserve Bank, we can't call his name. The Reserve Bank report that was advocated for by Lesija Khanyao, it's a fallacy, and its intention is to undermine that institution and protect one individual. My brother, the future in the EFF is not a position. Why, when you're being removed from a position, you say, I just said in the statement, they remain members of the EFF and continue to contribute. That's your future. That's my future. The future is not position. So we remove people from positions. You say, do they have future? What are you saying? We did not expel them. They are members of the EFF. In the EFF, we are not going to allow opportunism of the highest order. So please, you can be guaranteed, if they want to remain in the EFF, they are not. That's why we didn't take them to DC. You see, the problem is that mani hleli nje linqokola wena uthatha izinto zakunqokola uziletha apha nqokola nje uthi umalema niyanqokola wena nabangani bakho niyanqokola, and then we want to make us part of that, because if you use science, the research of Ipsos said the EFF is now more popular than Malema. It's in the research. So, Mara, you know, Rinchi Mola Stupu, Mola 15, go Alexander, we go music. I don't want Malema. Then Unana, no, that is science. It's done. This is what people are saying. There were public protectors. That's why you are starting before, starting with Tuluma Donze. There were public protectors before. There was never any problem of that sort and anything of that. So Thuli Madonsela made her reports. Her reports were challenged in courts, and she won. And then that was it. We want a public protector that will take decisions, and those decisions must still be challenged. Whether she wins or she doesn't win, there is a recourse.
Well, the parties that met and said they are forming a coalition, and then you say there are 7 parties. Some of those parties, I was seeing them for the first time. I've been in the space for some time now, and I will know some of these parties. So I really don't know if there are parties like that. The IFP is already having problems about that, where certain leaders of the IFP distance themselves from that coalition. Then you remain with the DA and Action SA. And the DA and Action SA is Helen Zille and Mampela Rampela kiss. That's what they did. They made them kiss each other and then killed Mampela Rampel. And that's the same direction Mashaba is taking. You listen to Mashaba speaking, you'll think it's a man who has lost his mind. He doesn't even have a sense of what is really transpiring around him, because he speaks against the CCT engaged in this critical matters taking into
why must we
the
say
that
there is a measure between
Africa
DA and
institutions
Asian
are being abused in protection of one individual?
Parties. The DA is given money by that
who's
lady,
also a money launderer. We reject with contempt the South African Reserve Bank cover-up of the Pala crimes
something.
And unlawful smuggling and usage of foreign currencies.
Gives
will take the South African Reserve Bank report
so
on
Pala
dollars to
balance them like this
for judicial review.
And that's what you have. There is no any coalition of anything.
The crimes committed in
the Oppenheimer playing with the minds of
abused in protection of the outgoing president of
and
South
we
Africa.
must not allow that. It must be exposed for what it is. It's a kiss between DA,
that despite the superficial claim that jobs are being created in South Africa,
they are kissing each other.
The reality remains
the same
that
way,
more than 15 million South Africans who need jobs do not have jobs. And then Mampela does not have any deliverable and practical plan to end the crisis of unemployment and joblessness.
Thin lips.
Millions of young people are now at the mercy of crime and illicit drugs because
who said we don't have a problem?
Despite many,
we never said
whole
are forming a party to
end load shedding and
once
bring
you
about
form a
electricity stability.
You are on your own.
There is still no clear program on how
we could have joined the
to stabilize electricity generation.
We could have joined the IFP or anything of
normalized electricity blackouts
to form
in the same
a
manner
party
they have
is
accepted
because
the collapse
you looked
of
around and do not found
the
anything
prevalence
that
of potholes in our roads,
what you
broken windows in municipal buildings,
chose
and
to
the
take
overall
your own
deterioration
path.
of public
This
spaces.
is a path chosen
Instead of
by
resolving
us.
the electricity
It's
crisis,
not chosen by the coalition
government
of the DA.
is going ahead.
It's not
with
chosen
the
by the ANC.
mutilation
We
of
chose
ESCOM
this.
into 3
We
different
chose to
companies
be on
with
our
the sole
own.
purpose of
That's why we are
privatizing
not called
electricity
EFF
generation
Plus
in favor
or
of the
EFF
greedy
edition.
domestic and global capitalist
we are not
interest
anything of that
and
sort.
demands.
We are independent. We shall
The
stand
CCT
elections
welcomes the
as an
expansion of
independent
BRICS into a bloc
organization.
of progressive
We will
and
win
forward-looking
elections
countries
as
of
an
the world,
independent organization.
which must end the
we will
imperialist
lose elections
domination of the world
as an
by the
independent
West.
organization and
The inclusion
accept
of
the
Ethiopia,
outcome.
Egypt, Iran, the United Arab
With
Emirates,
honor.
Saudi Arabia and Argentina into what is now
Acceptance that
BRICS
says to
plus
our
6
people,
is a
we
step in the right
understand your
direction
message
because it is
and will do
underpinned
better next time.
and
We have no
defined by the
problem
need
at all.
for common prosperity and not by the neo-colonial need to exploit the world's natural resources
really
in the same way the
just
imperialist
one
West
sentence
has been doing. We believe that in addition
I don't know
to
why
the
there
6
is
new countries that will be admitted into BRICS in 2024, there has to be
when they say
an
public
inclusion of
protector's
Cuba,
office,
Venezuela,
they also mention
Palestine, and the
Galeka.
Democratic Republic
But
of
when
Congo,
you talk about
and all progressive
the Reserve
must
Bank, you
support
don't mention
BRICS as an
Lesotho
alternative to the G7 and the
everybody is
NATO war
consistent in
alliance,
saying Reserve
as
Bank,
the
Reserve
economic
Bank. But
emancipation
Lesotho has not been
movement,
mentioned.
which
It's
amongst
Lesotho
other
who's
principles
created this
embraces
mess, who has
Pan-Africanism.
converted
We
the Reserve
believe that
Bank into a
African
protection
countries should
of
use
one
our
man.
proximity
It's
to our
Gallagher
friends in
because
BRICS
it's a
Plus
woman.
6 to pursue
Her name can be
the
called with
development of
rules like
Pan-African
that.
infrastructure
You
programs.
can call an institution and even call a name.
The
There's no
African
problem
continent
there.
is still far
But
behind
this side
in terms
it's a
of
male.
intracontinental
And because there is a male who's
and
leading the
projects that
Reserve
can
Bank, we can't
uplift
call
the
his
lives of
name.
our people.
The
The
Reserve
African Union and
Bank
all
report
African countries should
that
speak in
was
one voice
advocated
to
for by
pursue
Lesitja
partnership that
Khanyago.
will result in the development
It's a
of
fallacy,
economically
and its
beneficial
intention
Pan-African
is to undermine that
infrastructures
institution
such as
and
railway
protect one
projects
individual.
and electricity
Lesitja Khanyago
transmission
says
lines that will interlink
there is
the
no
entire
formal
continent
transaction.
and bring about electricity
What is formal?
and industrial expansion for jobs and
Mtabanyoni
economic common
produced
prosperity.
a receipt.
These are issues we will be
There is a
raising
receipt
and placing
that there was
on
a
top of the
transaction.
agenda during the
The
16th
president himself said it.
BRICS Plus 6
that
summit
there was
in
a
Russia
transaction.
in 2024.
You journalists
because
went to
will be the
interview
government of
a
South
man who was
Africa
wearing
and will
Gucci and all of
represent South
that
Africa
in
at the BRICS
Dubai,
Plus 6
who
summit
said
in
I
Russia.
came to
The
buy
Central
the
Command
buffaloes.
team reflected on the role the
Lesitja Khanyago
EFF continues to
decide
play in governance in
in
parliament,
one day
provincial
to destroy
legislature
all of his
and municipal
good figures
councils as an
in defense of
organization
one man.
that is in government. The
In defense
EFF
of one man,
is pleased that
they said there was
we are
no
making a
formal,
meaningful impact in
transaction.
government,
And then
which is
Kollega this side
reflected by
says, no,
the
there was
service
a formal
delivery initiatives
transaction,
we are making in
and all of that,
municipalities such as
everything is
Ikurulini,
above board. Then the
Johannesburg,
Reserve Bank
Mogale
says,
City,
no, these
eThekwini,
people are
and
tax
Nelson Mandela
compliant.
Bay.
There is no
We'll
problem.
continue to
Everything
demonstrate
has
to the
been
people of
accounted
South
for.
Africa
What
that the
formality must we
EFF
look
is
for
capable
again?
and willing government that will bring about maximum progress,
Lesitja
stability,
destroyed the
and
image
quality service
of that
delivery
institution.
to our people.
Lesitja destroyed
The
his
Central Command
legacy.
team reflected
Lesitja
on
destroyed
the
everything he stood
undemocratic
for.
and
It is
corrupt rule
Lesitja
municipal
who is at the
officials play
center
in
of
council
destroying the
and
good
how they
image
effectively undermine the role
of
of
the Reserve Bank.
democratically elected
And he must be
public
called by his
representatives.
name.
There
Why
are
are you
some
scared of Lesitja?
city managers
What is so
and
special
municipal
about
managers who think that they
It's him.
own councillors and they can control what the councils must do.
For career
In particular,
opportunism.
the EFF noted
Because he
that
hopes to be a
the current
finance
city
minister
manager
one
of
day.
the city of
He hopes
Nelson
to
Mandela
travel
Bay,
the same
Nokolo
path that Tito
Nkwazi,
Mboweni traveled.
is currently
He
out on bail
compromises
for
the
fraud
image,
and
the
mismanagement
good
of
standing
municipal
of
funds.
the Reserve Bank.
On the
His
1st
name,
of June
Lesitja Khanyago,
2023,
must go
the
into
EFF
history
called for
as
the
a man
immediate resignation
who
of
destroyed
Nokolo
one of
Nkwazi,
the
who was-
good institutions
who has adverse funding
of our
against
country.
which were
And
established by the
Reserve Bank,
SIU,
Reserve Bank.
the Hawks,
Reserve
the
Bank,
Office
Reserve
of
Bank.
Public
Lesitja's
Protector
name is not
in
being
the
called.
Eastern Cape.
I've been
The
observing
EFF will introduce a
that
motion
when it
against
comes
the
to the
city
public
manager
protector,
of
Kollega's
Nelson
name is
Mandela Bay
called.
to call for immediate
When it
removal,
comes to SARS,
and there will be no peace council sitting in Nelson Mandela
has
Bay
cleared
so long
that
as a criminal continues to
veteran's name
preside
is not being
over
called.
the finances
When
of
it comes to the Reserve Bank,
not all of
Lesitja's name is
Nkwazi
not
must
being
never
called.
think that she can
Males
buy
are being
the EFF
treated
the same
differently
way
from
she
females.
bought all the
Like
councillors
institutions.
in the
We are not
Nelson
going to be
Mandela
part
Bay.
of that
We are
patriarchal
not and will never be
count
in
us
the
out of
pocket of Nokolo Nkwazi, the city manager of the Nelson Mandela Bay.
My brother,
The Central Command
future
team
in
once
the
again
EFF is not a
commends
position.
and appreciate the selfless
why
work
when
done
you
by
been
all
removed
EFF
from a position, you
leadership,
say, I just
structures
said
and
in the
ground
statement,
forces in
they
the
remain
excellent execution
members
of all
of the
programs
EFF
marking
and
the 10th
continue
anniversary
to
of the
contribute.
EFF. The
That's your
EFF
future.
has
That's my
emphatically
future.
demonstrated to the people
The
of
future is
South
not
Africa,
position.
Africa
So we
and the
remove
world
people from
that we
position.
stand as
You
a
say today
formidable
a
political
future. What are you
force
saying?
which is ready to lead
did not
South
expel
Africa
them.
and all
They are
progressive
members
forces in the
of
continent
the EFF.
into the
EFF,
future of
we are not
common
going to allow,
prosperity and
opportunism
economic
of the highest
emancipation.
So
The
please,
excellence of our internal systems for
you can be
mobilization
guaranteed
and
if
organization
they want to
reflects
remain
our
the
strength
EFF, they
as
are
a
that's
solid
why we
movement.
didn't take them to
We are
DC.
therefore emboldened
The
that
DC
our
may
organization
well
is
decide
capable,
not to find them
able
guilty.
and well structured and
The
able
DC might find them
instrument to
guilty
bring about change
and
South Africa
expel
needs
them
today.
or
The
suspend
same
them.
way we execute
And that will destroy
mobilization
their
and organization
future in the EFF.
internally in
In
the
the
EFF.
protection of their
That's how
future.
we are going to
We
run
said, let's
efficient
take a
government
political decision
when we take
which is
over
allowed
in
by the constitution of
2024.
the EFF
The
to
CCT
recall,
received the final
because
report
those
of
positions
EFF
they
public
hold
representatives
are the
who
EFF
failed
positions.
to organize for
You are
and pay
mandated
for
by the
transport
EFF
of
at any
their
time the EFF can
constituencies
recall you,
to attend the
including me.
EFF 10th anniversary. The CCT takes serious
So
exception
I
on public
don't understand.
representatives
What
who
is
have-
this future?
having had
If
more than
the
5
future is
months to
positions,
organize transport
then I'm not
for their
interested in that.
constituencies,
I'm
failed
not
to do
interested.
so. In the EFF, all our leaders organize organize, mobilize, educate,
and
agitate, and also
removing
fundraise
them
for all
from
activities
positions
of the
and
organization.
having them remain in the
Without these
organization
qualities,
is part
public
of the
representatives
rehabilitation.
and leaders under the
It's
EFF
part of saying to
cannot
them,
be
you
trusted
still
with the
need
lives
to
of our
learn
people
more.
and have an appreciation maybe
at the forefront against the ruthless
prematurely promoted you into position of responsibility.
The CCT has therefore resolved to recall all public
and then will consider you
who failed to meet the organizational mandate and obligation in relation to the EFF 10th anniversary. The recall means that all councillors, members of provincial legislatures, members of parliament who failed to organize for and pay for buses for the 10th anniversary celebration must resign from positions of their deployment with immediate effect.
To do anything.
This resolution is in line with section 14 subsection 9 of the EFF constitution, which says, I quote, and we do so has the power to recall any employee of the organization from any position of deployment, including deployment
public
as public
representatives.
representatives.
We are removing 210.
The CCT
We remain
further
with
resolved to remove the elected structure.
990.
The CCT further resolved
members
to remove from elected structures all leaders who fail to organize
respond to the court
and
at
pay
any
for
time.
buses
Don't
for the
tell
10th
me about
anniversary
lazy
celebrations.
That
The removal is in line
I've no
with
time for
section
that.
14 subsection 10
I've no
of the
time
EFF constitution,
for
which says,
staff riders.
open quote,
We have no
the CCT
capacity.
has the power
Whether
to
they've been
remove
with us for too
and
long,
replace
it means
incompetent
nothing
members of the
if you can't
CCT,
perform the
PCT,
simplest
and
task.
RCTs.
You know, one of you is
If they
very
are
sympathetic
loyal
that
to the cause for
maybe the
economic
MPs
freedom in
will
our
know them, we
lifetime,
will not know the
the
other.
EFF members
There is an
who are
MP
recalled from deployment
who
and
until
removed from
this
elected
morning
structures
was
will
still
remain
lying
as
that
members of the
she
organization,
paid,
but will not be
for a bus.
eligible for deployment.
The
back
SD
to
went
structures
and
they
said,
were
okay,
recalled
let me
from.
sit down and understand this. When
We took
through
this
with her,
decision to recall them
only to find
because
that
we
this
saved
MP
them from going to
submitted
the
a quotation
National Disciplinary
and thought
Committee
that we
or
fools
any disciplinary
will
committee
confuse
at
the
whatever level.
quotation for an
Because
invoice.
the outcomes of any disciplinary
And
committee
the
at
quotation
whatever level
is
are not
dated
guaranteed.
25
They may lead to
July.
the suspension.
You
or
can
the
see this MP has
expulsion.
never done
We
anything
thought this
for
was
5
the
months.
best political
On the eve of the
intervention
rally, realized,
because
hey, there's a
those
problem
comrades
coming
were
in.
affected
She
by
then
this
gets
decision.
a quotation.
They will remain with their membership
And then
if they so
today,
wish.
this morning, she gives us a
Failure to
quotation
comply
as a
with
proof
this directive will lead to all
payment.
those members being
you want
charged
to- you want to
and
serve with
suspended
such
with
people.
immediate effect.
These are the people
and
who want
the
to serve
National
with.
Disciplinary Committee will take the process
Better few,
forward.
but better.
The Central Command
Not
team
fraud.
had extensive deliberations
Fraud.
and
Until
discussions
this morning,
on the
a fraud was
EFF
still
route
trying to
victory
defraud the
manual,
organization.
which is our strategic and tactical
not coming
outline
clean and open
detailing
and apologize
how EFF
and
structures
say,
will engage
no,
in the lead up to
we'll
the
do what the
2024
organization is
general
asking us to
elections.
do.
The EFF Road to Victory manual present the phases of
There's
our
no
approach
DA which
to
is going to
elections,
dissolve
which
any
are
Johannesburg
1,
here.
Maitrome phase 2, Mamela phase 3, Selatupa phase.
There's no
Additionally,
DA that will
the
dissolve.
EFF
If
Road to Victory manual
Stoney's life
present
is dissolved,
in-depth
He
analysis
must
of
not think
electoral
that that's
politics
going
in
to
South
happen in
Africa
Johannesburg.
and analysis
It's not going to
the
happen.
EFF's and analyzes the
Johannesburg
EFF's
is stable.
continuous qualitative and
Johannesburg has got a
quantitative
mayor
growth since its first
and the
participation
MMCs are
in
up
South
to
Africa's
task.
electoral politics in 2014.
A lot of those MMCs
What the
are
Maitrome
up to
phase
task. They
entail
are
is
trying
that
their
all
level
EFF
best
structures
with limited
are
resources and
converted into
difficulties
elections
that we're
task
confronted
forces,
with in
whose
Johannesburg.
primary responsibility will be
You know,
to organize,
you
mobilize for and coordinate
of the media.
all work in relation to elections. The
You're not covering the
CCT
job
is
of
therefore
those comrades.
converted into the
You're
Central
not
Election
showing
Task
what those
Force.
comrades are doing
Provincial
good.
command teams are converted into
All of a
provincial
sudden, there's a
election
media
task
blackout
forces.
on MMCs.
Regional command teams
Boom,
are
pop,
converted
alert,
into
and
regional
le ba
election
parade
task
aparo
forces.
ka re ke Queen
Branch
Elizabeth,
command
and
teams
then
are
our Mogiri
therefore
beauty
converted
contest.
into
Le
branch
Mokaba.
election task forces. And this
Covered
applies to all our ward-based
Mara,
branches
our
and voting
comrades are not
district
being covered.
based structures of the EFF
Because they
up
are
until the
living
end
amongst
of
our
elections. And the constitutional
Look at the
structures
MMC
will
of
be
public safety and
reinstated
what it's doing in
immediately
Johannesburg.
after the
And
election.
tell me if there's
Furthermore,
anyone in the history of
Maitrome
the
phase
department
include the
who can ever
formation
match
of
that
dedicated
MMC.
elections and mobilization.
Look at what our
mobilization
MMC of
committees,
health is doing
which include
in Johannesburg.
manifesto
And
drafting
compare.
committee, communications
Some
committee,
of you for sure you even
youth
know
and
for the
student
first time that
committee,
there's actually
women and
MMC of
mobilization
health
committee
in Johannesburg
workers mobilization
through our
committee,
MMC.
voter registration
But that is not
committee,
being covered
and
by
other
the media
committees
because
that will
it's a
make
good
sure
governance.
of
that the EFF has maximal impact
now
in the
the DA
2024
says
elections.
we can't work
The
with the
Maitama phase
EFF.
has already started
We can't work with the
and will
with
be
the
concluded
EFF
on the
all of that.
7th of September.
No one is
2023
asking them a question.
With all the necessary
Where
structures and
did
committees
the
established.
EFF do wrong?
The committees are
Where?
constituted and led as
We're now
follows.
in government.
The Central
Where
Election
did
Task
the
Force will
EFF
be
do wrong?
convened
Show
by
us.
the President of the EFF.
Snooki
Julius
Sigalala
Malema.
says the EFF
coordinator of the
is
Central
not
Election
a
Task Force will be the
law-abiding
Secretary
organization.
General of the EFF.
You don't ask him a
Commissar
question.
Marshal
Why
Tamim.
are they still a
The
registered
manifesto
political
drafting
party if
committee
they are
will
not
be
a
led by
law-abiding
the Deputy President of the EFF.
Because law-abiding
Floyd
means
Shibambu.
compliance to the Constitution.
The cost
If you don't comply with
and
the Constitution,
fundraising
you will not be
committee will be
registered as a
led by
political
Treasurer
party.
General
You
of
take
the
that
EFF,
as a
Commissar
gospel truth and walk
Mautu.
away.
The Media and
And he's got
Communication
personal
Committee
reasons behind
will be
what he's
led
saying.
by the national spokesperson
Why?
of the EFF, Commissar
The MMC
The Mobilization and
Finance
Organizing
in
Committee
is
will be led by
engaged in
fighter Patrick Sindani.
a program
Food Bank
where they
Committee
switch off
will be led by
illegal
Commissioner
connection
Godrich
by big
Gadi.
business
The
and
Mass Voter
industries in
Registration
Ikurule.
Campaign Committee will be led by
And then to
Commissar
enhance
Sharon
revenue
Ratlap.
for
The
that
Minority Groups
municipality,
Mobilization
those for
Committee
those businesses
will be
that are
led
not
by
paying
Commissar
their electricity
Nazir
bills.
Paulsen. The Youth
Where
and
are you
Student
to cover that?
Committee will be
But
convened
if
by
it
the
was
President
a
of the
white
EFF
mayor,
Student
that one
Command,
of Tswane, what is his
Commissar Sihle Lonzi, and coordinated by
it was Bring
Commissar
Ikimi,
Mobile Mtongo.
you're going
The
to be
Women
following him
Mobilization
because he's a white
Committee
man.
will be convened by the national
A
chairperson,
black government that is
Commissar
delivering to its
Veronica
people.
Mente, and
Look at
coordinated by Commissar
waste collection
Mandisa
in
Makasini.
Ikurule has
The
improved
Workers'
to a point
Committee
where
will
the
be led
DA
by
complained
Commissar
that
Tlengiwe
when we're
Mkali.
in government we're sabotaged,
Additionally,
the trucks
in
were not
line with the
unleashed.
establishment
Look now
of
the
the
trucks
Central
are
Election
unleashed
Task Force,
into communities
all
to
provinces
go
will be
and deal with
convened
waste management.
and coordinated by members of the Central
potholes in
Command
Mohale
Team,
City
while
have
regions
been
will be
patched.
convened by members
You
of
went to cover
provincial
Cyril
command teams
Ramaphosa
and CCT
patching
members.
a gravel
The
road.
deployment is effective immediately
And it's
as
patching a
follows.
pothole.
The
But
Eastern
here is an
Cape
MMC
will be
in Mohale
convened
City
by
who's patching real
Commissar
potholes
Noltando
and ensuring that
Nolchungu
there is
and
rehabilitation
coordinated
of
by
the roads
Commissar
in
Sam
Mohale. No,
Matias.
that is not
The
being
regions
covered.
of Eastern
The
Cape
EFF
will
can
be
be
led
trusted.
as
What
follows.
did they
I
do?
asked SG that
The only thing
where I'm
they are
butchering
scared
the
of
names,
both the
it must come
ANC
in.
and the DA.
The regions
is
of
that
the Eastern Cape
EFF
will be led
do what they
as
said they will
follows.
do
Alfred
if you
Nzo
give them an
region, I'll
opportunity.
start with the coordinator and end with the
When checkers,
I'll start with the
we
convener
are open
and end
for
with the
scrutiny.
coordinator.
When checkers everywhere.
Alfred Nzo
Everywhere.
region convener
Don't only
Tulisile
check us.
Mlokoti
Report
and
our work.
coordinator Mawande
Report the
Magali.
good we are doing for our
Amatola
people.
region Mbali Dlamini and Onga
Enetekwini.
Mpep. Buffalo
We got the
City
ANC
region
to
Sam
consider and
Matias
accept
and
the insourcing
Zianda
of security
Kekisi.
guard and the
Sarah
cleaners.
Bartman region,
Now,
Paul Nita
it's an
Marias
EFF police.
and Lita Zibula.
We are
Eastern
navigating
regions,
it even
Tembile
when we don't have the
Matikizela
majority.
And Lona
To
Chok.
make sure that it becomes the
Nelson
resolution
Mandela region
of cancer.
Natasha Ntangwini and Zoleka.
What is the problem with the EFF? The problem with the EFF is that it will do what it said it will do.
Mzuki
And that's why the ANC in Ikuruleni was caught screaming and kicking, saying to the ANC leadership, let's get out of this relationship. We don't want this state to be convened by. They said they are suffocating
and coordinated
They are
by
leading.
Commissar Mandla Shkwambani.
a debate.
The regions of
and
the Free State will be
implementation
led as follows.
of community
Fezile
development
Dabi
and
Tapelo Morale
service
and
delivery.
Amelia Chabalala. Lejwane
Ikurule,
Kultwa region,
there is no one
Coach Lipoko,
who can,
and
that person who
Shelu Kwana.
complains like that,
Mangaun region,
there's no one
Tembi Msani,
who
and
can say,
Thomas
I
Matunwa.
reported
Tabo Mufutsa
a
Nyane
sewer
region,
blockage.
Musanku, Musimanga, and
and
Mapaseka
it is now
Mutau.
more than 24
Karib
hours
region,
without a
Anthony
resolution.
Matumba, and Sipati Nanyana.
When a sewer blockage
Gauteng
gets
will be
reported that there is a
convened by
sewer
Commissar
running,
Dr.
the sewer is
Mbuyiseni
blocked and
Nkosi
all of that,
and coordinated by
unleash the
Commissar
municipal
Ian
workers.
Mateis.
If
The
the
regions of
municipal
Gauteng
workers
will
are
be led
reluctant
as
to go,
follows.
branches and
Ikurule,
leaders
Ian
of the
Mateis
EFF go
and
themselves to go and
Dunga.
unblock that sewer.
We do it ourselves.
Nkululeko Dunga.
Without government. Johannesburg, Dr. Mbuyiseni
We don't
Nkosi
say, no,
and
the
Musheko.
procedure, we put in
Sidibe,
the claim,
Matshidiso Janet, and Betuel Munyai. Tswane, Mugeni Chwaku, and Ubaking Ramabudu.
The
Western
deputy chairperson of the
Philip
EFF in
Makwala
Gauteng
and
is the
Lindiwe
best at leading
Masile.
that. He was
KwaZulu
now
Natal
in
will be
Agric Field.
convened by
No
the
one has
Deputy
covered that.
President
You won't cover
Floyd
it.
Shibambu and
waiting
coordinated
for
by
him to do
Commissar
wrong.
Ntokozo
All of
Okonya.
that good is doing.
The regions of
He will never
KwaZulu
talk
Natal
about
will be led as follows. Amajuba, Matapelo Siwisa, and Sibusiso Sizana.
you know,
eThekwini,
any
Ntokozo
formation
Tonyani, and Temba
that creates
Vumbu. multipolar society in which the imperialist forces are isolated.
Ilembe,
As an anti-imperialist movement, we welcome it.
Zondo.
Every country that participates in the Kenyan
Ugu,
multilateral bodies
Chiliza, and
always look after its interests.
The
first look after their interests before they can look after the interests of other members. So we're not naive
and about
the relationship of these other countries
and
America
Nyoka
and
Utikela Nosipo Makamba and
War Alliance.
Shange.
We are quite
Zululand, Babalwa,
but we are confident that the leadership, which is at the center,
will be convened by Commissar
particularly
China and coordinated by Commissar Mabati Kausi. The regions of Limpopo will be led as
Brazil.
Capricorn,
we know that they will not allow the nonsense to happen
and Jacob
Lebo at that level.
Mopani,
so that's where our confidence
and Tenyeko Mangai.
So
Skukuni,
and that's why
Chilizi Maraga
in the EFF
and
is that in our statement is that
Bembe, Victor Rambau,
the leaders
and
of Africa,
Maepa.
Let's use our participation.
Dr. Lawrence Matsitela,
let's use
and
our participation
Ramalobela
to ensure that there is an
by the Treasurer General
development
in
Africa, not only in South Africa. Let's use this to connect the continent.
The regions of Mpumalanga will be led as
for more investment in the continent, so that by the time
and Tanzania,
the imperialist forces open their eyes
and Sunday
we are a fully developed continent, because South Africa developed alone
and
in this continent will not be helpful.
Kangala, and Mpo Morokol. The question
Northwest
will be convened by the Deputy Secretary General Popimai Lula and coordinated by Commissar Pamisa formed. The regions of the Northwest will be led as follows.
Now,
Bujana,
for the first time it contested
Kalipi, and Justice
got 44%.
Dabambe
answers your question. It doesn't have
Dr.
to
Kenneth
be
Kaunda, Letitia
because
Ellis
in the previous election
you
can't get
Dr. Ruth
Chamisa, Triple C
Primrose
in the previous elections
and
got 0. In these elections got 44. So we are even better than Chamisa's Triple C
and Simon Maebane. Northern Cape will be convened by Commissar Rebecca Mtala.
We're not starting
and
at 0 like
by Shadrach Traoré. The regions of the Northern Cape will be led as follows.
And
Francis Bart,
we are the only organization
and Vusi
that has never lost votes
John Taule
since 2014.
Tseko Mafanya and
only organization that is not going to lose votes.
Namakwa, Zed, Quinana, and Glenda,
is going to outlive all of
Lepolesa. Pixley Kaisaka, Seme, Gwitsi Mudimu, Halter, and Leseo Mogalagadi. Sianda, Jocolin, Botman, and Paco Kautzan. Western Cape will be convened by Commissar Dr. Susan Tembekwayo and coordinated by Commissar Mbulelo Magwala. The regions of the Western Cape will be led as follows. Cape Metro, Una Tintame, and Nsikelelo Chandela. Cape Winelands, Nazir Paulsen, and Dr. Wandile Kasibe. Central Karoo, which is joined with Southern Cape, will be led by Noluvuyo Tafeni and Neil Lu. Overbay, Tembile Slas, and Tozama Mangai. West Coast,
the organization is growing.
Aisha Kasim and Olani Chetu. The second phase of our election approach is the Mamela phase, which is the phase where all EFF ground forces and the organization as a whole will listen to all the people of South Africa on what should be included in the People's Manifesto.
Because the organization
the People's Manifesto will form the foundation of the EFF's campaign agenda. All the people of South Africa will be presented with an opportunity to contribute to the People's Manifesto, and we will, during the period, publicly communicate the platform through which there will be communication and contact with the EFF for submission to be made. As part of the Mamela phase, all EFF structures at all levels will hold physical consultation with different sectors of society. This will include the following:
far much bigger than
regional leaders, traditional leaders, farm
that is the
workers,
organization
people in the
which
fishing
we founded
community,
10 years ago
security
that
guards, mine
it's an
workers,
economic
former mine
emancipation
workers,
movement that
professionals,
is not
domestic
just
workers,
about
farm
its
workers,
individual leaders.
students,
It's not
civil society,
a private
the creative
organization.
industry,
It's an organization of the people. It's an
LGBTQI+
organization
community, African
we're going to
diasporas
bequeath
formation,
to future
the business
generations
sector, unemployed youth, social
emancipate
grant
ourselves
beneficiaries,
from
people with
neo-colonial
disability,
dominance of
and
the West.
construction
And
workers.
that is what this
The
organization
Mamela
is all
phase
about.
will also
So if there's one thing
include
which we are rest
holding
assured
of
and
seminars which
confidently know
are one-day
is that
conferences
this,
of experts
EFF
and
is going to
practitioners
outlive,
in
all of
a
us. So
sector
that
to deliberate
is-
on the following
I mean, it's
critical
finding
matters.
expression in other
One,
parts of the African
on
continent.
electricity in
Namibia,
light
we've got
of the crisis of
the economic
electricity
freedom
confronting
fighters
South
which
Africa,
ascribes
on
to our
jobs
leadership
in light
here
of
in
the
South
crisis
Africa.
levels
We've
of
got
joblessness in South
members
Africa,
of parliament in
on
Namibia.
crime
We have
in light
never
of
been
the
to
growing
Namibia
and
to campaign
uncontrollable
for the EFF.
levels
So
of crime,
the EFF is an
on the
idea
creative
which-
industry in light of
which
the
is long
continued
overdue,
marginalization
like in
of
its relevant
role players
lives
in the
of our
creative
people.
industry.
And one
The
thing for
Mamela
sure,
phase
which we are
of our election
100%
campaign and
convinced
program
we know,
will culminate
is that it is going
in
to
the launch
outlive
of the EFF
all of
manifesto in
us
February
terms of
2024,
what happens.
which
That
will
is-
be
that
the
is
beginning of the last
organization
phase we
that
call
it's
the
an instrument in the
Chelatupa
hands of our
phase.
people. It's a
The
fighting
Chelatupa
weapon that
phase
will inspire
begins
many
with
generations
the
to come
launch of the
to fight
People's
for economic
Manifesto
emancipation.
and will
Thank
be
you very much,
defined
President.
by aggressive and intense campaign which will be the center of the principle of person-to-person, person-to-person, campaign. Our campaign will be centered on
thank you very
speaking
much.
to our people directly
see, the
because
problem is
we
that
are convinced of the superiority of our solutions and ideas. We cannot and will never be afraid of speaking to our people about their aspiration and demands because the People's Manifesto will be articulating their aspirations and demands. The EFF knows
we want to make us
the
part of that
elections
because if you use
results of
science,
Zimbabwe which were won
the
by
research of
the ZANU-PF. The EFF is of the
Ipsos
firm
said
belief that the elections
EFF
were not
is
free and
now
fair,
more popular
but
than
welcomes the
them.
fact that there was an absence of
research.
violence as an improvement.
Mara,
As elections in
you know,
Zimbabwe are ordinarily characterized by violence.
15
All ground forces of the EFF must understand and internalize the fact that at the center of our election program and campaign
This is what
is
people
of
are saying.
person to person,
Artificial science,
mutu.
our FM.
All ground
Very
forces
sheer
are
science.
called into action and full-time dedication.
400 to 200
We must all
because,
dedicate all weekends, starting
the
on
report was
Fridays,
released,
strictly to
names were
engage
released,
with our people,
and then
and
people
no
were given
internal
an
meetings should
opportunity
sit
to argue their
when
case.
we have an
And I
obligation
said
to
to you now,
interact
there
with
was a
our
person
community.
just this morning
We are entering
came to
this
argue
election
their case.
season with
it was
aim
indeed
of outright
proven beyond
victory,
a reasonable
and that is
doubt
why
that
we are
this
not
person
bothered by
is right.
right-wing coalitions
Wouldn't be sitting
and
on
attempt of the
210.
ruling
It
party
would have been
to
209,
determine the
because
content
must be removed,
of their exit from power.
from the list.
We are
So,
and
we
remain
announced the
the
names.
future
You know, one of the
of
things we
South
found
Africa.
is
Thank
that
you.
some of the councillors in the Eastern Cape, they have 3 months without being paid because municipalities don't have money and salaries are not paid. So such people get removed. That you can't expect such a person without their own income to now go and look for buses for the EFF. They are concentrated on trying to resolve their immediate
Hey
issues.
guys, it's Nkosnati Shazi from Power FM News.
There's quite a number of such
I
cases.
just have one question
and
for
others
the
where
EFF leader, Mr.
there were
Malema.
administrative
Just last week, 7
discrepancies
political parties
by
in South Africa
administrators,
came
because
together
now
to form
it is the SG who's
the
directly
multi-party
interface
charter for South
with
Africa,
people.
made up of
To
the
want to
DA,
hear what is your story,
IFP,
if you have a
Action
story to
SA,
tell.
and a number of political
And
parties.
then
And
you make your
basically, they
case and then a
combined
decision is made.
just ahead of the elections to take
that's
down
where
the
the number
ANC
then
and
got
its
reduced
proxies.
from 400
and they
to
identified the
210.
EFF as the ANC's proxy, saying that
we are
you guys
likely to
cannot be
even have
trusted.
less than that.
You guys cannot be trusted when it
Because,
comes to governing and
as
coalition.
people are going to
and
be
just
receiving
to
letters and
juxtapose
being
that,
told,
the ANC itself, through its
you have to
president,
resign.
Cyril Ramaphosa, said
I mean,
the
there was a
ANC
guy,
will not be gunning for any partnership. They want a clean win. ANC SG
Chico,
Fikile Mbalula himself
Chico
has
Mkwanazi.
slammed the EFF, saying we will not work with
This
you guys. So
one
my
was
question is,
Mkwanazi
Mr.
didn't
Malema, as
pay
the EFF, as the organization, what are
And
your
he kept
thoughts
on saying that
of all these
the
political
whole
parties
meeting,
in South Africa saying that they will not work with the EFF,
This
saying
morning,
that
the
the EFF
SG
is
comes
not
and says,
capable,
no,
considering
Mkwanazi
that
paid a
at
bus
the end
and
of the
paid
day,
it
you
in
guys are the
April.
kingmakers. Thank you
He
very much.
produced a proof. Yes.
number
The
two.
confusion was that they got a collective quotation of 57,000.
And then he paid his portion in the 57, his bus was 12,000. So they looked at the POP of 12,000 vis-a-vis the quotation of 50,000 and said, no, this doesn't make sense. So he came and said, no, look at this, this is us.
Second question is,
And then each one of us in this 57 pays this much, and this is my portion. Fortunately, the bus company, we used it. Then we're able to communicate with the bus company, and they said, no, that's authentic, we know that, and all of that. Then his name goes off. That's how I'm convinced this morning, because the thing with our people is that the more serious we become, they too start coming out, or the man is just talking. Let me send my stuff. So it's not the lesser number we get, the more happier we are. We don't want this. We don't want it. That's why we kept on making all types of noises for these comrades to comply.
Taken through a disciplinary process.
So it doesn't. We don't rejoice in
fired or expelled from
but
the party. So I just
there
want
has
to know
to be
do these
mandate
members
and accountability.
still have a future within the EFF?
We want a public protector that will just comply with the
I'm not familiar with
public
everyone, but I
protector's
believe,
laws
especially when you
and
look,
not be involved
at
in
the
politics.
MPs and the MP.
There were
roles,
public
there's a lot of
protectors.
them who've
That's
been
why
with
you
the
are
party
starting before.
since it was since
starting
the
with
beginning. So I
Kuluma
just want to know,
there were public
is
protectors
there
before.
a chance of rehabilitation?
There was
for
never
them?
any
Or
problem
is this-
of that
is this-
sort and anything of that. So Tulima Donsela made her reports. Her reports were challenged in courts, and she won. And then that was it. We want a public protector that will take decisions, and those decisions must still be challenged. Whether she wins or she doesn't win, there is a recourse. But stick to the rules. Don't be political as a public protector. From where I'm sitting, in all of those interviews, there's no single one who qualifies. By just listening to all those interviews, where our TG performed very well in trying to interrogate those people in the best interest of our country, nothing came out. The ANC tried. Even wabacho mungwari public protector upatela sasa beneficiaries ekarano. I don't know if the ANC did it deliberately in an attempt to make Koleka shine, but she could not shine with the understanding and interpretation of the law. She couldn't. For a young person who should, because of age, do not have a history of struggle credentials and anything of that sort, if you want to engage in that space, it is your intellectual understanding of the law which must make you look smart, and everybody should say, this is the one. So no one, if they get anyone, it will be out of Oppenheimer's instruction that this is the one we are taking. But none of those people there can get a 2/3 majority. I can tell you now. If we were to follow the line of questioning of the DA, of the EFF, of the opposition parties, none of those guys qualify to get a 2/3 majority. Look, the DA goes into its conference and declares us enemy number one. They go into their coalition things to the moon. On their way to the moon, they declare us enemy number one. When you declare people enemy number one, it means you are in war with them. The DA has declared war against the EFF. And in this Central Command team, we have accepted the invitation to war by the DA. We're not scared of the DA. We're not scared of Action SA. We're not scared of the Oppenheimers. We're not scared of anyone who has invited us to the war. We're here today to accept the war and to accept that we're enemy number one of the white monopoly capital. And we will not be defeated. The DA will never defeat us. The ANC will never defeat us. So the DA should know that the invitation to war has been accepted. We have never declared war against anyone. We were doing politics and saw everybody as a political opponent rather than an enemy. But since we are an enemy now, let's go to the battlefield. 2024 will separate boys from men, girls from women, because the DA thinks that it can defeat the EFF. The white carpet has invited you, the ground forces of the EFF, to war. It's up to you to decide if you want to be defeated or not. As the ground forces of the EFF, we have a responsibility to defend the movement on the ground. And you do that by winning votes. Let's defeat the DA and defeat the handlers of the DA. We must make sure that whatever happens, the numbers of the ANC and the EFF combined go beyond 55%, so that this DA can never constitute government without the EFF, and the ANC can never constitute government without the EFF. Someone said, we are the kingmakers. We are not the kingmakers. We are the king.